Hey, what's up everyone, it's Eddie from Eddie's Emporium, and today we are going to be grading trading card grading companies based on their appearance. I just thought this would be quite a fun one because there's a lot of bias going out there, and obviously, you know, when we think about grading companies, you think about the top dogs, your PSA, your Beckett, but actually, like, which ones look the best aesthetically, and do we take a lot of like bias into that? There will be some elements of bias coming into this because of like legacy, but it's a personal one, so let me know if you would change anything on this to keep it fair and unbiased, or as unbiased as possible. I've chosen to use the Phantasmal Flames Charizard just to kind of keep it straight. I've tried to find everything in a PSA 10 or obviously equivalent, just so it kind of is based on the actual design of the slab, not just the fact that it's a different card. Because I feel that if one's like a Lugia V, then the other one's like a PSA 10 Charizard, I'm gonna start feeling a different type of way based on the cards. So hopefully that eliminates that. But I've got a tier list thing. I've pulled some images together off the internet. I'll pop them up as I'm deciding and talking about them, and we will go from there. Okay, so in no particular order, I've just got a bunch of trading card companies throughout the world. Some from Japan, some from Korea. Obviously America is where the bulk of them lie, the UK. If I've missed any, let me know what I should be putting on this list and why you think it's going to be a contender for most aesthetically good, or what you think the worst is, because there are some like ones where I just kind of do look and go, they could be doing a lot better here. So to kick things off first is the ARS Japanese company. Now, this is something that I've seen recently online, and it came to me, and it was such a striking design for a card, where the whole philosophy from this Japanese company was essentially it should be the card first and then the grade after, because you're appreciating it like a piece of art. And so what they've done is they've got the card at the top, and then they've got the plaque at the bottom where you've got your grade and obviously information about the card. And I love this. As a person that enjoys art and the kind of what it represents, and the whole illustration aspect of cards and why we love cards and why they do so well, I have to put this up in one of the top spots here, because out of the back, no legacy, no bias brought in. It's just clean. It uses metal. It's engraved. It's appreciating the art, and that's what they're trying to do with it. So for me, let me just quickly find it on the list here. I'm going to put this up immediately at an A tier trading card grading company slab design. It's fantastic. I think it stands for everything we should be looking for in our slabs in terms of the quality and the appreciation. So next up we've got CGC Grading, and I believe this is a grading company. I think it could be Rudy's from Alpha Investments. I think he's got a stake in this one. It could be wrong, could be another one, but I do believe it begins with a P. What I do like about this, it's got the subgrades on the front, so you know what you're buying and why you're buying it. So I don't know if you are a person that likes to restore cards. I know a lot of people buy like grade 9s and things like that. You can maybe immediately identify why it's been dinged down. If it's on the surface, is something you can clean to really bump it up to the next grade. And it's clean. It doesn't give too much information, which I think's a blessing in modern day card grading. Sometimes it can be a bit too visually overwhelming, the information on there, and I like the black and gold. I haven't checked if there is a lower tier of PCG, so if it was, you know, a 9, is it going to be a different colour? I'll have to double check on that one, probably on a later date. I'm probably going to lie, not going to check that. But I do enjoy it. It does a lot of things well, but nothing like amazing. So for the PCG one, I think I'm going to put this down as a C. Next up, I actually didn't know this company was about. It was just a cool design that when I was looking through the marketplace and doing a bit of research into what kind of cards are at a 10 for this Charizard, it popped out and it actually did strike me as quite an impressive design. So it is the Relic 10 Phantasmal Flames Charizard. And I don't know whether they do this per card or, you know, have a color coding system here, but given the fact that there is absolutely no red on this Charizard, I'm going to assume it's a standard type of label design. It could obviously follow the same suit of being a 9 in a different color, of course. But for me, I love how simple the design is. You know, it's not trying to do too much. It's not trying to be the next PSA or the next Beckett. It's got its own identity, and I like that. Now, could they be doing a bit more with, you know, the 10, making it feel a bit more like a premium? I think so. But what I do think it does well in is eye appeal. It's all quite well balanced, well rounded. So for this one here, I'm going to put it at a B rank here, because I think it is a well-rounded slab design. Next up, we've got one of the first iterations of the big dogs. We've got Beckett Silver label, or anything kind of below a 10. What I love about Beckett in general is the fact that they just haven't premium feel about it. And this is going into a bias element, but I think they're one of the oldest in the game. They've always been quite honest and transparent and hard to grade with. Without taking that into account, when you know you've got a 9, it's probably a 9 as well. So there's that element of trust when you see that label, that it's been given that because it's been looked at properly. So I think for me, the BGS 9 is going straight in at a B level. It doesn't pop out at you, but it's clean and it's just very visually appealing. And I like how obviously you've got the transparent B as well. Next up, we've got one of the first UK ones on the list, I believe, ARS Grading. We've got the Mega Charizard just with the color way label. So for me, it's a bit boring. I think, you know, very similar to when you've got obviously the Relic one, uses the same type of colorways, but it's got a bit more depth of field to it. Granted that ARS try and probably not make it look as good on purpose, because when you do have the option of adding a color to your slab, they really want you to be buying a $3 custom art, I think, which is, or £3, sorry, custom art, which makes you feel that anything lower than the custom art isn't actually standard. It's like the light version of it. So for me, I think the color is going in at a C here. I think there is more to be done with that, but I think this is an intentional play by ARS Grading. So this one is I believe another UK one, Get Graded. It does follow kind of similar mimics of kind of, you know, your BGS and other grading companies. The only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't really feel formatted too well. I'm not a big fan of having it kind of go like this when you're looking at cards. I think it's a bit all over the shop in terms of where I'm looking. You know, you get graded in the bottom left corner, but then you've got the upper text in the middle. It just doesn't feel too clean. I think this is probably like the least impressive design. It's just quite visually over everywhere. I don't know if you agree, but I think this is going to be the first D tier design that I'm going to put into this tier list. It just kind of feels a bit flat. So next up is SGC. Now this is one of the big ones in America, but this is particularly, as you can tell, because I actually couldn't find a easy enough, there's probably one out there somewhere, stock image of the Phantasmal Flames Charizard in a 10, and I think that just probably plays into the fact that this is really a sports grading card company that's kind of made its bread and butter through there. What I do like about this that I've not seen in any other grading company to date is what feels like foam in the infill of the card where the card's placed. It feels like it's got that extra protection, and that feels really premium to me, because it, you know, when you've got your slab case or something like that, it's got the foam innards and everything like that, so it's protected. And I think that really transcends into this kind of TCG slab design, because it feels safe. You know, it's not plastic, molded plastic that you feel if you shook the card it would kind of like potentially alter your card in some way. It feels that it's in foam. I mean, I've not seen an SGC card in person before, but it does look like that's foam. So let me know if that is actually not foam. That could change it. But the card design, the formatting's nice. I like this that it's got the gem mint and 10. It's not trying to do anything too special on the actual design side of the label, but altogether it feels that, again, the card's at the center of this. And I can imagine if you're probably like a basketball fan or something like that, and the Michael Jordan 10 is in that, it feels a lot more premium. So I think for me, this one is going into an A tier, because it is actually really impressive. The card pops in it, and it just looks like it's got an extra level of like material in there that a lot of other companies do not. Next up, we've got the Majesty Grading Company, MGC, from the UK. These are one of the first grading companies I ever interacted with, that I actually self-graded with. I really appreciate them, but when we are looking at the general design, just the overall appreciation for it, these are quite a big sports heavy company as well. And I did grade quite a few Pokemon cards with them at the time. For me, it's clean. I love the colour choices. It's obviously British. It's got the you know, your red, your blue, your white, which is great. I do like how it's got your gold 10. That's the difference. You'll have a gold 10 and a gold lion, and obviously the foils on the back, versus a, you know, it would be like a black font that you'll black colour, not black font, have your lower cards graded at. So it's formatted well. It's formatted a lot better than other companies. Like, I think the one that I kind of stuck at there was Get Graded. I like how you've got the logo one side and the grade on the other, and I think it balances out when you've got like for a formatting kind of like that, depending on how many letters are in each one of the cards. But it doesn't really pop out to me when I do look at this in comparison to the other ones. So I think it just does stuff well. It doesn't do things amazing. I'm probably going to put this at a B in terms of design. But let me know if there is anything you could do to improve it. It's clean, I guess. Okay, next up we've got one of the big dogs of America again. We've got CGC Standard Gem Mint 10. This is one of the things that always stands out to me for the CGC company is how clear the casing is. It sounds really weird to say that, but when you look at kind of the other companies, they sometimes use frosted plastic to kind of cover up the empty parts of the slab shell. And I think sometimes that can come across a bit more tacky, whereas CGC, it feels like it's kind of being preserved, you know, like an airtight seal. And maybe that's intentional, because they obviously do a lot of other things like comics, you know, VHS tapes, video games, and all them other ones that they're a lot more well-rounded for. And I think having the round edges on that, it really feels premium. And they've gone through their new label. I say new, it's obviously been out a while now, but going from that blue to this kind of like darker tone, see, it feels a lot more premium. It feels a lot more like weighted. Obviously, I like how everything's to the left formatted. You've got a barcode plus the actual code of the card itself, and over in the corner you've got the actual grade itself. I really like CGC grades, especially in this one. So I think for me, I'm going to pop this in a, it's teetering on upper B to A, but I think I'm going to put this in A just on my own personal preference. There we go. So we're not looking too bad so far. We've got 3 in A, 3 in B, 2 in C, and 1 in D, which actually isn't as bad as I thought when I was initially making this video. It's actually quite nice to see. So next up we've got probably the biggest trading card company, or at least one of the biggest growing trading card companies in Europe at the moment. Is ARS Grading again, but this time with the custom label. I think it's really, really good, and I think when you are looking at things like, I quite like my White Schwartz, I obviously love my Pokemon and other TCGs. Right now they don't do Yu-Gi-Oh or anything like that, which is quite disappointing. Like, I suppose you call it Japanese sized cards, which is a bit of a letdown. But when they start doing other TCGs like that, I'm assuming just because of growth and everything like that, they don't want to kind of overextend their artists, because I know there's a bit of a delay right now on getting custom art done that's not been yet done on cards. Like, I've got 2 White Schwartz cards from Blue Lock currently getting their first ever label being created, which is quite nice to know, and it's quite a personal thing to know that you've got the first ever label created for that type of card. And let me know if you've ever had that kind of email from Ace say, you know, you're the first, which is, it's a really cool feeling. But to be able to extend the art and do it well, and obviously it's not AI, it's actual artists doing that, is a really impressive feat, given the fact that they're doing it with a lot of like trading card brands, you know, your Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, loads of other cards. I don't think, is Magic the Gathering Japanese sized? I don't know. But obviously anything you can actually get graded by them, they can do a custom label for. It's quite funny because with the custom label on this one, I'm not as keen on it as other custom labels, but the fact that that's an option, I think feels very premium. And I don't know if any of you have had, I'm going to guess if you're watching in the UK, you probably interacted with an ARS graded slab. The quality of the slab is very akin to Beckett. Feels very rigid, it's very clear, you know, it doesn't feel as flimsy as other like kind of PSA ones, which is really nice. All in all, I really enjoy grading with Ace. I think this one here, it is going to probably be a first S tier, just on the basis of how far you can go with your labels and design. It can be so cool at times seeing artists do their work. So here we go. The first S tier label or general slab design. It's great. We've got another big one coming up as well. We've got the CGC Pristine 10. And this one here, obviously, I'm not going to go into detail on what I liked about the actual case itself. I'm going to focus on the label because this is the big difference. The gold and black always impresses me. Now, funnily enough, it's meant to feel more premium, hard to get, because obviously it's essentially a perfect card. But I don't feel it fully represents, and when you compare this against, and I'll put it up on the screen, its counterpart in a 10, it actually, I think, looks worse. And when we're not taking into bias that it's a perfect card and obviously it's worth more money, when you're putting these two together, I just feel that I would take the other label with a Pristine and something else. I just feel it's not done as well. And so this is a bit of a backwards one, but I'm putting this CGC Pristine card in a B category for this reason. It just feels a bit more tacky than I think it's warranted. They should be just doing a bit better with it. So we've got the biggest new boy on the block, let's say. We've got tag grading in America. This obviously is being blown up. You know, we've got people that die on this hill at Tag's good because it's the impartial AI grading. I like that it employs new software to try and be impartial when grading. Hopefully you get the same grade over and over. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how it looks. And for me, I like that it gives the score in the little QR code in the middle. You might be able to see it, that little 950, which then qualifies it for a 10. I believe it's, if it was 949, it goes to a 9. I think they round it up. So I actually don't know, I've never graded with tag. So let me know in the comments there. What I like about it, it's clean. It's not trying to do too much. It's got the tag logo at the top. I like that. The biggest drawback I have ever found with tag, and this is probably because I try and take photos for a business, I have bought tag, I've just not graded with them, is if you've got a white background or any kind of light background, it's difficult to see, take photos of, and I think that it has left an irritation and a bad taste in my mouth in terms of where it is. But when we're looking at the actual design, I like how everything's quite clean, you know, the spacing in the middle between the top of the 10, the bottom of the Gen Min, the top of the Mega Charizard, and the bottom of the Special Illustration Rare feels quite well fitted. And so I really like that, and it's clean. I just wish that there was something that they could do, almost like with like a cartoon line, you know, when you got the black thing that helps you see the white against the black when you watch it, when you're reading subtitles on like an anime or something like that. I wish they'd do something like that, because that would really impress me a lot more. But for this reason I find difficult, I think I'm going to put it in a B. It would easily be an A if they did something like a quality of life change that would really improve it on the... Oh, there we go, in the B. That would really improve on the kind of quality of life of actual functionality when you're trying to view it, because you really have to hold against the dark surface to help that lettering pop. All right, we've now got the big one, I suppose the industry big one, which is PSA. Now, this is an interesting one, because you have to obviously eliminate bias when you're taking in a card like this, especially knowing that the price is astronomical with most of these 10s anyway. But this is the gold standard for any person in the hobby. Yeah, I appreciate that there's probably a lot of people here who dislike PSA for obvious reasons. They've got a lot of shady stuff going on. At this time of recording, they've got like a 1 to 3 billion, I think, class action lawsuit going against them. But anyway, we're moving on quite quickly. I think with this design, I think when you see it, you obviously feel a lot of legacy, but they really incorporate, when you see like a PSA 10, the standard of our hobby. From a design perspective, they've not moved too much in a long time. What I aren't as keen on, again, the quality of the plastic. It feels a bit flimsy. When we're looking at the frosting of the glass, I'm not a massive fan of that. When we're looking at the red and the white, I really like that, helps pop. But again, that's an association sort of thing, so I'm trying to not bring too much bias into it. Then you got your PSA slap bang in the middle, and I like how you've got things like at the back, you can see, like, you know, you use a blue light to black light, sorry, to get the PSA hollowing to prove it's legitimate. But it just doesn't do enough for me as a design perspective when you are leading the race. And I think that's the problem, is they're suffering from success. They own like 70% of the market now, and they've just got no reason to change, and that's part of the frustration that we've probably all had as collectors, you know, engaging with PSA at times. So for me, PSA is going at a B tier, and it's running a lot on legacy. You know, it could easily be a C tier design, but I think, you know, when we're looking at the MGC design, and that's very similar, I think probably putting it in B is a fair comparison. All right, we've now got back to one of the big dogs again, Beckett Gold 10. Again, we've covered kind of a lot to do with that. The clarity of the cards. I like how the cards are sleeved inside the cases. It makes you feel it's extra protected. I do believe that these are kind of while PSA is a gold standard, when you actually appreciate cards for the grading and the work that goes into it, I think the trust is always high with Beckett. And I know obviously PSA's parent company now own Beckett, but until proven otherwise, they are still the creme de la creme of grading. These are the most premium in my eyes. So when you see that gold 10, it has a prestige about it. So given I've already talked about the silver one, what I like about it, I'm going to just quickly put this one in A category in terms of design. It's just so good. But then you've got the next one, which is the best on the market, best in class in my opinion, the best overall, which is the Beckett Black label. I just, you know, daydream of owning black labels. I've never owned one. I very rarely come into contact with them unless I'm at like card shows. I don't know anyone that has one. They're as premium and prestigious as they are kind of elusive at times. When you have a Beckett Black label, you've just, you know, hit the jackpot, because you know that card is gonna be a one of maximum 500, you know, in its lifetime, its entire print cycle. You know, it would be a very weird thing to even have something that's more than kind of like 50 black labels. You know, and I'm really pushing it with like the modern people and people really submitting to like Beckett. But 9 times out of 10, why are you going to chance getting a Beckett 10 in a gold when you can just go to PSA and get that guaranteed 10 and it'll have more resale market on secondary? So this is really for a collector. If you're a black label collector or you're doing it for the love of the game, it's an investment or whatever, when you see that black and gold, and this is a really good example of when black and gold are done amazingly, stands out, it pops, it's clean, everything's in the right, you know, font and sizing. You know, the 10 isn't gory, it's not massive, it's just everything's so premium about it. I can't put into words how much I love black labels, and even though Ace is an S tier, this gets the S plus tier in my eyes. This is the best you can possibly get that, you know, really drives home why you know, stuff catches your eyes at shows. A black label, just you snap your neck. And the final one is ARS Grading, which is a Korean company. Again, this kind of follows a similar like a simpler style of kind of grading that, you know, this is ARG, I can't remember if I'm saying that as AGS, no, ARS, follows. This Korean company just want to keep it simple. All the stuff in the top left corner, the grading company at the bottom left, and then way over in the corner, there is the grade. Now, while I like that, there's a lot of dead space, and I think that leads to it looking a bit unfinished. I think they could be doing more, but I like how clean it is, and where they're obviously trying to go for that kind of cleaner Korean aesthetic that you kind of have, whether that be in fashion, design, architecture. I can see why this is quite a normal choice for them. But for me, as kind of Western audience, I think I will have to put this probably in a D category, just because it does feel unfinished. But that could just be like how young the company's. Right, this came out a bit longer than I actually anticipated, but let me know in the comment section what you think is the best one. Did it get anything massively wrong? Or have you had some like better experiences with some grading companies that maybe I've just not had yet? But anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate that always. And if you do want to see more content than this, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I will hopefully see you all shortly. Ciao.